Over the years, it's kind of changed, and there were even some years where so many people were getting recognized and nominated. But to go to the level that Elena did, that it's not just the school recognition where teachers can be pretty proud that they were nominated by usually a student, a peer, or another teacher, and then a parent in the community. We try to look for those three things in the nomination process when we're selecting our school award winner. So I think people feel really good about that. If they reach that level where they know not only parents but kids, but their peers in the school are respecting their work, that's a good feeling for a teacher. When it goes to the level of the district, and then you philosophically have to step back and fill out this giant packet of information explaining your philosophy and how you develop relationships and what's important to you about public education and education in general. And she does it at such a level that or anyone does it at such a level where you're recognized as a finalist and the district-wide winner out of 6,000 teachers. It does take on a super special meaning. But I think teachers don't get acknowledged for the positive stuff enough, and I think it's something every year that rolls around where even one nomination from a kid that says nice things, or a nomination that goes to the level that Miss Paich achieved this year makes people professionally feel real good about themselves.
It comes organically. It comes from not just one day of work, but a body of work over time. And I think the fact that it comes mostly from students and colleagues really is a very powerful, in the sense that it means more that way, because those are the people that you're dealing with every day. It's like winning the MVP based on sports writers and winning the MVP based on the people you play against. I think every competitive person, every person in an art would want to be judged by their peers rather than by some outside agency or outside people. And so I think that's what makes it special. And I also think that what makes it special in particular is the idea that it's not just about the classroom, it's also about the other things that you're doing, whether that's for your students outside of class with clubs and activities, whether that's with your colleagues and supporting them in terms of other instructional endeavors that they're in, whether that's supporting your school and your district in ways that will benefit them by bringing honor and recognition. Those are very special things too. And we got to remember, we live in a huge school district, right? There are 9 or 10 high schools. To be identified as the best of the best, makes it super special. And once it gets past the colleagues and the students and it goes to the final people who make it, there must be something in that really bubbles to the top. And I'm sure that when you take a step and look back at past winners, it's not just what they're doing, in front of their students, but it's the ripple effect that they throw out, that they send out through all of education, particularly in Douglas County, but also just everywhere, right? Like, it resonates in all parts of our communities.
My favorite thing about Miss Paich is just how she's such a cool teacher. She really just speaks the language of all the other kids in her classes, and she's really super chill, and her whole class style is super chill, and I really like that about her.
My favorite thing about Miss Paich is how interpersonal she is and how she strives to create meaningful relationships with each of her students and understand who they really are as a person. So she did that with me.
My favorite thing about Miss Paich is just she's a really laid back, relaxed teacher. She makes sure that we get our work done, but at the same time she's really good at interacting with the kids and make sure that we're all having a good time while learning at the same time. She's not one of those teachers that just sits up and just lectures us. She'll interact with the students properly.
My favorite thing about Miss Paich would have to be how she always tries to connect every project or paper we're writing to why we're doing it. So she'll give you a reason. So this will help you on your AP test, or you'll need this for your job later in life. She brings kind of an energy to everything that the students really respond with, and it makes you want to do the work, not just because it's busy work, but because it'll help you later in life.
I think one of the main things at Vista we talk about a lot with our teachers from day one on is the foundation being built on relationships, taking good care of kids, making sure that you're going above and beyond and meeting the needs of any student and all students. And I think that Elena does all of those things. Her not only is her class enjoyable for the kids, but it provides a level of rigor. The kids know that she cares greatly about them and wants them to be successful. So I think it's a combination of that, but I think it's the fact that she is such a relational person and she does such a great job of building relationships with her kids.
What makes Miss Paich so deserving of the Apple Award is that she is an outstanding teacher and that she wants to get better. There's never a day that goes by where she's not thinking about what's best for her students. There's never a day that doesn't go by where she's not thinking about what she can do to support her colleagues. And there's never a day that goes by that she doesn't want to think about anything but education. And so whether it's in her classroom level with individual students, at the department level with fellow teachers, or at the school level with so many other things that she does, she is a person who always puts students first and always puts their experiences first and always tries to bring new and relevant information to the classroom. And I think the other thing is she's just got that teaching personality. She's just so gregarious and outgoing and knows how to balance that with seriousness. And you can tell teachers who were meant to be teachers, and I suspect from day, like very early in her life, that teaching was a very important part of who she wanted to become, and she's lived up to that, and she hasn't rested on her laurels.
Well, I think she does a combination of things. If you're looking at a great classroom, and you guys can picture your classrooms as you're thinking about this, but if you talk about engagement of kids on a relational level, meaning you really trust, you really like, you really enjoy being around a person, a teacher. There's a behavioral engagement component, which means that there's processes, it's organized, it's structured. And then there's a cognitive engagement level, which means kids are being challenged and they're being allowed to think and have some choice and have a voice in the classroom. And sometimes teachers have one of those or two of those, but when you get somebody that can do all three of those engaging or have all three of those engaging qualities like Mrs. Paich or Miss Paich, it then becomes a real special combination, and she does all those so very, very well. And I think that as I look for great teachers, I look for those things, and I see them all in Miss Paich.
I think what makes Miss Paich's teaching style so successful is the fact that she really, really thinks about the progression of what she's trying to teach kids with the kids in mind. A lot of times teachers will think about the curriculum or the book or those types of things, and not in concert with their teachers or with their students in a particular class. And I think the thing that we have to remember is one class is different from another class, even though you're still teaching English, 3 or 4 or AP language. And what she does and makes her so successful is that it's what she brings in terms of understanding the curriculum, but then coupling that with understanding each and every student. And that's a gift, and it's hard, and it takes a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of trial, it takes a lot of failure to actually get progress. And also, I think the thing about her is she is unafraid to try something, knowing that there's a chance it may not work, but if I do get this right, it's going to be awesome. Or I didn't do very well this time, what can I do even in the next class period? And a lot of times teachers freeze up, or that's really frustrating to them, and to her it's an empowerment to do even better.
What makes Ms. Paich such a good teacher is that she strives to understand the strengths and weaknesses of each of her students, and she helps each student out individually so that they can improve in her class. And she also tries to understand each person, who they are and their personality, so that she may be able to work with them better and know how the way they are will help them learn better.
She works well with kids. She communicates with them, and she's always super nice, and she's super helpful, and she's just a really great teacher.
Can you tell us?
Well, once again, what makes her a really good teacher is just she's first of all extremely helpful if you go and ask her for help, but then she'll do it in more a fun way with the students, where it's not boring, where there aren't kids falling asleep in her class, where the kids are actually having fun in her class and just basically interacting as a whole.
I think Ms. Paich is a good teacher because she really inspires her students to be the best that they can possibly be. Kat wrote a 6-page essay on her for the Apple Award. So obviously she's inspiring people to not only be great in her class, but to remember her far after school.
Well, she's a huge baseball fan and she's a huge Game of Thrones fan. And I think if you put those two together, like, that's life right there. It's like teaching Game of Thrones and baseball in any particular order. But she's passionate about, like, life. I mean, she's super exciting to talk to. She's well read. She understands what it's like to be in a community, and she has fun. She's a great friend, and she's a great sister. She's a great aunt. She's a great daughter. She's a great colleague, and I think that's what makes her just this awesome person. Is that no matter what and no matter how you interact with her, you're getting her very best.
She is so positive. She is a true professional. She loves education. She's doing it for the right things and the right reasons. She likes being a part of the building in different varieties in and outside of the classroom. She's really, truly very, very funny. If you have a chance to talk to her in different settings, she's just a really, really cool person. So I watch her interact in that way, and I don't think there's any kids or any staff members who can really try to find anything bad to say about her as a person, which is just an added quality that's so cool.
Sometimes I'll be Snapchatting in class and she tries to sneak up behind me and get in my Snapchat pictures, which is pretty funny.
One of the stories that keeps reoccurring is actually that she keeps telling stories of her life, because she used to go to Mountain Vista a couple years ago, and she keeps telling us about how weird it is, how she now works with people who used to teach her. So those are always really interesting to hear.
A cool story I have about Ms. Paich is that she has always given me so much advice throughout all these years. I had her as a freshman in English Honors 1, and then I had her as a junior again in AP Lang, and then I'm her teacher assistant this year. And so she's seen me grown from freshman year to senior year. So she's seen me become who I am now, and she's given me a lot of advice that I will always take with me and I cherish. And